right, welcome everybody. Tim Bart's here, McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas. A little delay there. I was checking turning my phone off so that we didn't have any background noise. How's my audio level here? According to my stream, it looks like it's we're good here, good to go. So don't have my tablet here, so I'm actually going to be turning a lot to the left to look at the computer. So I'm going to kind of keep that mic right in the middle there for you guys. So again, Tim Bart's McArthur Ford. Just want to welcome everybody to the chat here. So again, we have several of our different members there. Now, of course, if just remind you, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you happen upon this video, this live stream, hit that red subscribe button down below so you can subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of good Ford content that you might want to be interested in seeing. Also, hit that notification bell right beside that. That notifies you when we have another video that uploads to the YouTube channel, so you get a notification of that. When we go live, you get a notification 30 minutes before, and then when it goes live. That's why I actually have about a 5-minute delay, because it does take a little while for that notification to come through for you, so that way you guys don't miss anything if you jump in. So, no audio. James said no audio, so everybody else, we're good. I see a lot of thumbs up, so okay. Should I double check it? Are we good? Good sound? Okay, good. All right, so we'll go ahead and go with that. So also don't forget, if you like this video, you get something out of it throughout the video, please go ahead and smash that like button. I really appreciate it. It does help out the content in the video, getting out to more people and getting that word out and everything. Also, if you didn't know, we also do have membership available, and that's that join button down there. So right down there by the subscribe button, there's a join button. You click on that, you can get more information on what our membership is all about. I'm going to try to do more videos out there, some of the behind the scenes and that kind of thing, and you can see some of the different perks there. I also have some things that are on order as well that I'm going to give out to our members as well, some different merch with our name on it and that kind of thing out there. So kind of want to mention that, like I always do. Also, we are kind of recording this as well on an audio format, so I'm going to take this video, convert it over to an audio format, and I actually uploaded our last two episodes onto a podcast called Podbean. I actually have the URL if you want to click over, listen to that anytime later. I am working on getting those also put on Stitcher, Spotify, and some of those others. The format and that it needs for that is not what I usually edit in, so I'm needing to figure out how to switch those over so they can also be on some of those other more popular podcasts. But you can check it out there on Podbean, which is where I upload it to, and then I can cast it to other places once I get the right format there. So you can check that out. Ford Video Guy is where you're going to be looking for that, but it's also fordvideoguy.podbean.com. So I have that down in the description if you want to check that out. Also down there you also see, and I actually have it on the chat over here too, right there, right below the chat on the screen, you can see questions, fordvideoguy@gmail. I kind of want to focus in on questions on the what's on the chat right here tonight, but also if you, after this goes live, if you maybe, oh, I forgot a question I wanted to ask him, throw me an email to that Ford Video Guy. I don't check it throughout the week, so if you're wanting information, if you're wanting to get a vehicle from us, I suggest you don't use the Ford Video Guy. That's really just for the YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and send us an email, and that way I can make sure that that question gets answered first. In fact, I'm going to go through some of the emails that we received in the last week and make sure I answer those questions first before we go into the chat questions, but we'll focus in the chat after I get those initial questions. Also, I wanted to kind of let you know, Ford did reach out to us recently. Our regional rep did respond to us and let us know that they're kind of watching us. They see that they actually congratulate us on our 400th order that we received. And they said they were watching, making sure we get name verification on those, because don't know if you realize, but if you do order a custom order, it has to be sold to that customer, and dealership has to stay within a certain percentage to keep those allocations going. And they were just Florida, the high percentage that we had of our conversion of those. We've only had a couple customers that not take the Maverick they ordered. Of course, we do things, we're up and up. We do things by the book and everything. And so they congratulate us on that, that we are going to get a couple stock allocations because of that, which is great. We asked them, though, instead of stock allocations, we'd rather just be able to get some of our Mavericks out there, or some of the ones we have scheduled, get allocations for those. And that's what we're really looking for. So that's hopefully we'll get those real soon. And they did say this month they're hoping to see some bigger numbers, and I do have some information I'm going to share later about some of the things that he had shared that hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing. But also, he did request some other thing. He knows that we're getting a lot of exposure. We're getting out there into the community. So he did actually want to know if I had any customers that had reached out and that are maybe new to Ford, maybe new to the new getting a new vehicle and new to that, and maybe haven't bought a new vehicle before, and they wanted a little more information about why they switched over to Maverick. So I said, what's the best way to do that? And I figured it would be here on the live stream. So I'm asking all of you out there, if you are new to the Maverick, or you're new to the Ford, I should say, you're all new to Maverick, right? But if you're new to Ford and you were at with another brand and you decided on a Maverick, they want to know your story. So I want you to email that fordvideoguy at gmail. Email me your story, and I want you to, in the subject line, put my Maverick story. And if you'd like to share it, no, you don't have to, of course, but if you'd like to share that, and also if you'd like to, at the bottom, put your information. Ford may be reaching out to you and want to know more about your story, and maybe you'll be, featured in some future marketing or something like that. And they might reach out to you and get a little more information. But they're wanting that information. They did ask us if we had some examples, because Ford really wants to know that the Maverick was a good idea. That when they throw out some of these products, there were some people at Ford thinking that it needed to be more expensive, or that it didn't, they didn't need that truck. They already had plenty of trucks. So I think there's this is a great truck for a lot of different demographics, but, kind of share, like, maybe even your age, your, demographic, what you came from and that kind of thing. But Ford's wanting that. So go ahead and shoot those emails over to me at fordvideoguy at gmail with that subject, my Maverick story. And let's go ahead and share these over to Ford and let them know that the Maverick was a great product, and give us your story of why you decided to go to Maverick. So he was asking for information on that. So let's see what else. Also, recent videos. We did a video recently on a lifted Maverick. So we did finally get that accomplished here. So here's some of the slideshow of some of the things that we did here. We did it is a Pro Comp lift that we finally picked there that worked the best for the Maverick. It is, I think we did 1 3/4 in the front, and then 1 in the back. So in the rear, there's one, looks like, I believe there's one spacer there in the rear, and then on the front, there's 2 spacers, one at the top, one at the bottom of the shock. And then also you'll see there because of that, we were able to put, so we got some, I think that's a fuel Zephyr wheel, I believe they put on that. And then we're able to put a 31-inch tire on there. And of course, this is a mud terrain tire, but I do recommend a KO2 BF Goodrich. Those are probably the best tire, and we can get those now. I think when this video when they put this on there last week, they weren't able to get the BF Goodrich, but now it looks like as of this week, we're able to get the BF Goodrich KO2 tires, which is what we recommend, because it's not a loud tire. I have it on my truck, my F-150, and it's a very quiet tire, but yet has some aggressive look to it. So anyway, that's about as big as you can go, and I think it's about 4 inches bigger than the stock tire. And I think actually, it was really cool. I think that Johnny, on Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, his channel, he actually reached out and said that he had heard was that for about every inch you gain on those tires, you lose about a mile per gallon in fuel economy. So makes sense. I think when we were running along this, the all-wheel drive is supposed to get about 29 miles per gallon on the highway. When we were driving on the highway, it was clicking along at about 23, which is about 6 less. So you do lose some there because of that tire. And this one was a little loud just because it was a mud terrain tire versus that. And there was very little rubbing, and it was mainly just the knobs on the very outside of that tire. And that's what I was getting a close-up of there. So anyway, so there's our lifted Maverick. So we did a video earlier. If you want to check that video out, go to our YouTube channel. And then this week I'm almost done with the Timberline Edition Explorer. So that video should be going live this week, as well as the Roush Bronco package. I've been meaning to do a video on that. I really need to try to do that. So thanks, Zachary, for subscribing to the channel. So anyway, so hopefully we get a couple of those videos done this week. But I will be pretty busy. We haven't been able to picture lately because our turntable that we usually picture on has broken down. So we're it's getting fixed. Should be done tomorrow, but because of that, we're going to need to picture a lot. So I'm probably going to be spend a lot of time helping a photographer picture so we can get everything caught up for our website. So All right, so let's move into the scheduling. And down in the description, I do have kind of a topics of what we're going to go through. This was the week that we did wholesale, but first, I want to talk about what vehicles are being scheduled. Now, this is next week is the start of production for November production. Dates and scheduling. So this week, there's going to be a lot of vehicles that aren't scheduling because it's more of a cleanup week. So there are a few vehicles that didn't get a whole month of scheduling done that are going to be scheduling this week. Otherwise, most of the vehicles are pretty much have done a lot of their scheduling, aren't going to be scheduling. So the vehicles that are not scheduling this week, Bronco, that's 22 Bronco not scheduling this week, Bronco Sport, Echo Sport, Edge, Expedition, Maverick is not scheduling this week. Super Duty, and then on the Lincoln side, Nautilus, Navigator, and Corsair is not scheduling. So none of those vehicles are scheduling this week. So what is scheduling? The 22 F-150s are scheduling. These are all 22s unless I specify, but the F-150 Ranger is scheduling this week. Transit Connect van and wagons. Escape, Explorer, the Mach E is scheduling this week. And then also the 21 Mustangs, retail only. That means custom orders only, not anything for stock, for dealer stock is scheduling. And then 22 Aviator is scheduling. So on the Lincoln side, that's the only model that's scheduled this week. Now let's go to what we talk about when I mention wholesale. That means that Ford comes and they kind of go over what their plan is for production and such for the month of November. So it's a little packet that we get like this, and for each region gets there. So a rep comes by, and we seem to be one of the last dealerships that they meet with. So we're kind of probably just in the middle. So we don't have actual scheduling numbers of how many allocations we're going to have this month yet. I think they're expecting tomorrow, the next day, that we'll get final numbers. And so we'll kind of sidebar that for now because we don't really know a lot of those numbers. But so we'll just go through some of the notes that I jotted down from some of the different information on production. Sometimes as a startup, especially right now with conversion over from 21 to 22, we have a lot of that information. My volume's low. How's that sound? Is that okay? Everybody hear me okay? So anyway, all right. I'll try to move the mic closer to me, so that might help. There we go. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, so I'm not used to just having a mic right at my face, so I might have to, for these evenings, since there's nobody here, I might have to just adjust those mics. But all right. So, okay, so let's go through some of the notes from the wholesale that I gathered. First, starting with the 22 Mustang, there are some retail-only options. And again, retail means only customers can order. So that means they can't be ordered for any stock vehicles on dealer lots. Okay, and so here's some retail-only options. The Ice White Appearance Package, only available to customers. Stealth Package. That is kind of new. It's more of I think that's the performance package, only available to retail customers. There's a Coastal Limited Edition package, which we haven't seen yet. I haven't really gone through the order guide that closely on the Mustang yet. Those are also only available to customers. The Performance Pack Level 1 is not available for dealers to order stock units. There's available for custom orders. And then also convertible is also, which I thought that was kind of crazy because we just ordered. I'm glad we loaded up on a bunch of convertibles for 21 because 22 you can't get a convertible unless it's a customer order. And then also Mach 1. They said Mach 1 is not going to be available for dealers to stock. Just for custom orders, and they're also limiting to just 600A this year, and they're expecting the volume to be pretty low on Mach 1. So just keep that in mind there. Now moving to 22 Maverick, some of the stuff we know. Hybrid orders are due to close out early November. In fact, today on they call it a go-to meeting that they had for marketing for Ford, they're saying go ahead and tell your customers that the hybrids are pretty much are over. So if you're thinking about getting a hybrid order, you need to do it right now. You need to do it this week because I guarantee you starting next week, you probably will not be able to order a Maverick hybrid. EcoBoost will still be able to be ordered, but the hybrids are pretty much closing out for 2022 production. So if you want to get a hybrid, they have so many orders that they know they can't fulfill them all. and it's gonna carry them through to May. So we're gonna go into it later, and there's actually some information that Ford's giving us that kind of giving you timelines on what to expect for these different models. So also, first edition on the Maverick is closed out as well. That was actually a surprise. Ford didn't say anything. All of a sudden, we just couldn't order them. We tried to order one for a customer. I really felt bad because I mean we thought it was available, and then we went to go put his order in, and we couldn't order it. So that I think that happened last week. Just after the live stream last week, I believe. So just keep that in mind. Not available to get those. Now, also keep in mind, just to kind of preface that, people that have a hybrid already in right now or a first edition already in, those will be built. So feel comfortable there. If yours hasn't been scheduled, that doesn't mean they're saying they're not going to take any other orders. If you order is already in, you're good. You're golden. Don't worry about it. First edition as well. If you have a first edition order that's in there, even if it hasn't scheduled yet, you're going to get your first edition Maverick built. So they just don't want to take any more orders on either one of those. Hopefully, I clarified that because I don't want anybody to be shocked if they have one that's not scheduled and think it's not going to get built. It will. Anything that's already scheduled, or it's already on order, it's going to get built. So you feel comfortable there. Also, moving on to 22 Expedition, they're saying they're probably going to get the okay to buy in February. 10th is the date. On 2022. So it's kind of crazy. They already have the date down for that one, but on the hybrid Mavericks, they still don't have that date. So job one starts late January, which job one means that's when production for 22 is going to start. Is going to start in January. I already have a 22 Expedition on order for my wife, so that's in there. No, it's not going to get. I know that it won't get scheduled until looks like January or something, or maybe December, I guess, maybe. Couple notes to 422 Expedition. There are some new things here that they wanted to kind of specify. Special edition package used to be only on the limited. It has now been converted over. Now it is available on the XLT 202A equipment group, which I am so happy about because last year I wasn't able to get in a certain equipment that we have in our 18 Expedition. So 22, perfect timing for our lease to be up because now we can get an XLT 202A, get that special edition package that gives us all the technology, the lane keeping, the lane centering, I mean, as well as your adaptive cruise control. Also, some other new lineup models. Timberline is new for this year for the Expedition. It'll have electronic limited slip differential, 2-speed transfer case. It'll have trail turn assist, which we only see on Bronco right now. So that's great. It's coming to the Raptor as well. And then, of course, it'll also have the high output EcoBoost engine, giving you 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. Also, there's going to be a Stealth Performance Edition as well. That'll also get that same high output V6 EcoBoost engine, 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. Also, we'll get the 22-inch black wheels, sport tune suspension, stealth design. It'll get the red brake calipers, so it'll be a really high-performance model. And then on the Platinum is going to have the most technology. It'll have Blue Cruise, B&O Unleashed with 22 speakers, including probably speakers in the headrest, just like it is on the F-150, and then the 15.5-inch Sync 4A system. So huge system. I think I actually showed you some images of that about a month ago or so when they released information on that. Now moving to the 22 F-150 Lightning. Not a lot of information here, so I'm just going to actually read this word for word. So they said communications coming soon on preparing for reservation to order conversion. So we've been waiting on that. They kind of told us it was going to be late October. I even thought it was going to be October 26th. They moved that back. I think they are not quite sure on the process of that because they don't want it to be like it was for Bronco. They're trying to make it a little bit better. So what they've actually told us in here is that reservation holders will begin to be invited to place online orders starting at the order bank opening. Now, they say online orders, but you don't order it online. You actually still order it through the dealers. So it says Ford will invite reservation holders back in waves. So each dealership will have the ability to re-rank a small portion of the reservation holder list prior to the order bank opening. I really don't like that. I don't think it's correct or fair for dealers to be able to re-rank their reservation holders. Not sure how that works, and maybe there's more to that and I'm not understanding it, and we'll understand more when we get more information. But hopefully they kind of fix that, and maybe they're able to rank customers ahead of employees or something. I don't know. And then also it says final wave invitations determined based on reservation holder ranking at their specific dealership. So you will get every dealership will all those reservations will come to that dealership, and so you'll come in waves based on that. So allocations will be given to dealerships. So if let's say you have a bunch of people that have reserved, but let's say there's a lot of people that reserve the first night at certain dealerships, and then other dealerships people didn't reserve that first night, and the number one person was the next day. Technically, that person would probably be at that dealership, would be first in line there, whereas they wouldn't be at another dealership. So it's based on the dealership itself. So we'll get more information on that, and I'm sure a lot of you have questions on that, but we'll get more information. I have one on reservation as well. Can't wait to get information on it, but we'll get more going there. So moving on up, I want to talk about commodity and constraints. So just I don't know if I put it all down here. I don't know if you guys want me to go through every model and constraints, but I'll do kind of start with the most popular ones that people are looking for, starting with Bronco Sport. Badlands and Outer Banks both are being built at about 25% rate there. So about a fourth of the orders are going to be a Badlands or an Outer Banks. And we do have a couple customers that are wanting a Badlands, so hopefully we see some good numbers there. Also, the Copilot 360 Assist Plus package, if you have that package on your order, 0%. So there must be something there with that order that's not getting those built, as well as trailer tow package. So if you have that on your order as well, it's 0% too. So this just means you're probably not going to get scheduled for the month of November. It's just if you have that on there. Also, the 18-inch optional big bin wheel, they've been telling people it's a high, don't try to, tell them to go off that. Now they're saying it's at 0%. So now they're saying they're pretty much out of those wheels. And then they're also saying moonroof with the Big Ben or the Outer Banks is 25%. So again, moonroof is having some issues there, just keeping those in stock there. On the Bronco, so they're still, even with the move over to 22, we're still having some delays on some of the supplies there. So 2.7 liter engine is at 38%. Hardtop is at 39%, and two-door is at 14%. So if you're wanting a two-door, it's going to be pretty rare for you to get scheduled. Wild Track's at 20%. Again, that doesn't look good for those people wanting a Wild Track. Sasquatch is at 38%. Modular front bumper is at 39%. Luxury package 37%. Tow package 32%. So what these percentages mean, that means if they order 10, that's a percentage of those 10 that will actually, if you have that on your order, that you'll actually get selected for scheduling. So if you're, if you have basically they're telling you, in a sense, if you want to get one quickly and get ordered scheduled right away, go with a 2.3 liter instead of a 2.7. Go with the cloth top instead of a hard top. 4-door instead of a 2-door, and try not to have a Wild Track or Sasquatch package, and you're going to probably get selected. Also, luxury package is a little bit, still a third of them, still is a pretty good percentage though, and usually, they won't have it on here if it's over 50% usually, so it kind of tells you, if it's in the 30-40%, you're probably okay there. You're probably going to get scheduled, probably not as quick as if it didn't have it on there, but it'll still get scheduled. On the Maverick, really no changes from last month. Bed covers are still around 3 to 5%, so keep those off of there, off your orders. Bed mats at 3%. The protective fender film still at 3%. Spray and bed liner, 3% of your orders. Bed extender, 3%. And those are all things that are aftermarket ads. So all of those, and I've said it, and I'll continue to say it, take those off your orders. You can get those from the dealers. The dealers can get those bed covers, bed mats. They can do a spray and liner, or at least outsource it to a local shop that can do that. Bed extenders can be added, and you can even order a bed extender right from Ford Accessories and just put it in your truck once it gets there. Also, XLT Luxury Package is at 18%. Lariat Luxury Package is at 16%. So those numbers have gone down a little bit. And then Hybrid Engine is at 40%. So just give you some of those numbers. So a lot of the similar numbers that we saw from last year there. Escape. So let's kind of just a breakdown of the percentage of the different trims. So if it's an S trim, looks like only 10% are getting scheduled. SE is about 35%, and they're saying plug-in hybrid is 0%. So if you got a plug-in hybrid, so you might have to be waiting. And then Edge with the Copilot 360 Assist Plus package, again at 0%. So there must be something with that package they're struggling with there, and that's why they're not able to produce those. Explorer, kind of the breakdown on the packages here. Looks like the XLT is the way to go here. 53% XLTs are getting scheduled. ST line's about 6%, and then the rest of them are, well, the base is at 0%, and then your hybrid, your limited and platinum hybrids are at 0%. So they're struggling with getting the hybrids produced with the Explorer here. Ranger looks like XL is about 26%. XLT is at 47%. They don't really mention the Lariat there. So I think the Lariats can be produced pretty quickly. Super Cab's at 22%. So Super Cruise where they want to try to build right there. And Black Appearance Package is at 11%. STX Special Edition Package is at 20%. And so really those different graphic packages are holding up some of the scheduling on Ranger. Trimmer graphics package is at 2 to 3%, and then the Trimmer off-road pack, that version 3, is 12 to 14%, and then two-wheel drive is 30 to 35%. So 4x4 Super Crew XLTs kind of where you kind of want to be there if you have kind of that configuration without any of those appearance packages. You're probably going to get scheduled pretty quick on 22 Ranger. F-150, the 2.7 liter is about 24 to 27% depending on region. 3.5 liter hybrid, the power boost is about 13 to 15%. 3.5 EcoBoost is about 28 to 32%, and the 5.0 is about 17 to 21%. So looks like that 3.5 EcoBoost and the 2.7 are what they're wanting to produce the most of there. Max recline seat is only 2%. So if you're looking at King Ranch Platinum and you want that max recline seat, I think you got to go up to that luxury equipment group to get that. Very few are getting built with a max recline seat, probably because they're pretty popular for those trims. Tonneau covers, again, on the F-150, 1 to 2%. So again, spray and bed liners, 13 to 15%. So across the board on about all of them, they're struggling with spray and bed liners, bed covers. Again, aftermarket's the way to go on those. Just get them afterwards. Wheel liners, 1 to 2%. Sport appearance package with the 20s is only 8%. So if you're wanting the sport appearance package and keep the 18s, you probably should be good there. Otherwise, we are getting a lot of XLT or STX appearance packages, but all of them have the 18s, and we're able to get those in as stock units pretty easily. XLT, Lariat, Platinum, STX, Black appearance packages are 0%. So we must have got snuck in and got lucky, though. Of course, ours are 21s, not 22. So we're talking 22 production here. So now, last thing I want to talk about before we get into questions, and I've been kind of trying to move my eyes over here to see if there's any questions here that I need to make sure I cover. But there is something that they did give us, and I think it's great to have this in here so we can tell customers. Especially we have a lot of people that ask right now, hey, if I go ahead and order a hybrid Maverick right now, when can I expect to get it? So Ford actually came out with some production timing, and you may want to give a little flexibility because Ford's always a little, they want to be able to give great numbers. And so you might want to actually almost add a couple weeks or a month onto these dates on most of these. So they're saying and we're talking about 22 here, for if you're ordering a Mustang, figure if you ordered it now, be March when you get it. Escape, they're saying January. Bronco Sport, January. That could be February. We have a bunch that are in transit we still haven't seen. Edge is February. Explorer, January. Expedition, February, because we know startup is February. And so really that should be March. Maverick, they're saying gas, January. Hybrid, May. So if you order a hybrid now, of course you'd be one of the last hybrids anyway, would be probably May. So keep that in mind. Ranger, January. F-150, January. Super Duty, March or April. So we are struggling to get Super Duties in unless they're custom orders. And then Transit, they're saying March. So kind of answers some of that. So All right, I covered all that new stuff. That took me 30 minutes, but we got through that. And I think that's important information, especially for some of you that are thinking about ordering one or they have one on order. Hopefully, that does kind of help you out there. Uh, anyway, so I really appreciate that. It looks like Johnny's in here. I always like to kind of say hi to him. He's in the chat, so I really appreciate that. Um, so I've actually been able to see a couple of your videos, but not while they're premiered. So sorry, Johnny. I've actually been a little busy recently to be able to jump in those. But you always have some good videos, and I appreciate you helping out. And of course, there are members here. We got Ridgeview in there, been a member for a while, and I think I saw Gary in here earlier, and let's see, I saw some other members that jumped in early on. Uh, of course, I did see some others in here. So welcome everybody to the chat and try to answer some of these questions here. Actually, I want to go over to the emails that I got last week and answer a couple of those questions here. Well, let's get a couple of these quick ones here at the beginning here. Can you order 22 Maverick now, and will MSRP remain the same? Yeah, 22. The MSRP isn't going to change on those right now, so they're gonna keep to the pricing that they have. It won't change for this model year. 23, the prices could go up and could change, but 22, if you order now, you should be good there. My son wants to order a Maverick hybrid from McArthur Ford. Now it's May. Yep, it would be probably May, so it's probably a good guideline. I always like to, tell you something that's a little further and then it come in sooner and then the other way around. So like right now, Ford told me that my Bronco was going to be here, by today. Today was the deadline between the 27th and the 2nd. It's not here. I'm disappointed. And I wish they would have told me it's going to be next week so that I wouldn't be sitting here every day expecting to show up and everything. So that's kind of the feeling there. So I got approved for financing, but didn't get me. Yeah, when you go and do an online credit app, you will get the Ford approval, but then the rates and everything is going to be based on term and that kind of thing. So you'll once you start structuring that deal with us, we'll get that information for you. We'll get that in the morning. So I know your Maverick is here. Actually, I took a picture of it earlier. I was gonna put it on the stream. I'll just text it over to you after the stream here. Um, Hi Kim, how's it going? Glad you're here every week, so I appreciate those that join in. There's a lot of you in here and Judy and such that join every week, so I appreciate that. I missed the beginning of the video with the Maverick plant being shut down. Will it delay my November 22 first edition build date? It could, but probably if it's going to, you might have already gotten an email showing that it's been moved by now. They usually are pretty good about that. And they might have planned for that to be shut down and just, waited to announce it till this week. I'm not sure on that. But, all right, so let me go over to some of the ones that I have that I received via email or this week. Joe did ask me about um, the the seat adjustment, though they're kind of wondering how the seat adjustment looks on the power seat versus the manual seat. So there's a 6-way manual adjustment when you go XL or XLT. There's going to be a lever on the front that's going to allow you to slide that seat forward and back. And then there's a lever on the side that allows it to go up and down. So that seat cushion will go up and down. And then there's a lever for the backrest. So that's your 6-way adjustment: forward, back, up, down, and then the backrest. On a power seat, when you go to 8-way power seat, that adjustment is going to be powered for the seat going forward and back, as well as the backrest going back and forward as well. And then there's going to be two other the lever that's there. The front part of it can go up and down, and that gets the front of the seat cushion can go up and down. And then also the back part of the seat cushion, which is the main part that allows you to go up and down like the lever would. That's what it's going to do. So there's your 8 adjustments there. So that's how that would work. All right. Somebody asked about priority 11 and what's that mean. When you order a vehicle, you can be as a customer retail order, it's going to be anywhere from a 10 to 19. 11 is pretty good. So that dealership just chooses to maybe order all the customer vehicles at 11 in case they want to move somebody up to 10. What it's going to do is when they're looking you have allocations, it's going to look at 10s first. If there's none at 10, then they're going to look for 11 and then 12. The default for the dealer is 19. So some dealers just do everybody at 19. They don't change it. We always move everybody to 10. So we do have a couple that are like at 15. They're not customer orders. They're actually stock orders, or not, I guess not stock orders. I think they're like my order where it's mid-move fact so that everybody else can be moved ahead of me, that kind of thing. So it's just, you can do some things like that. But most dealerships will keep everybody at the same. Okay, next one. Let's see. Cliff asked, I ordered a hybrid on June 8th and sat at party 2 for 4 weeks. I tried waiting and switched it to EcoBoost. Now my order confirmed date changed to 9/18. Um, I'm not sure. 9/18 would have been passed already. You must that must be like 11/18 or something. But typically, if it's in order type 2, you can't change anything on the order. So once it's I mean priority 2. Once it's a priority 2, usually you can't change that order. So I'm not sure how that was affected there. So I may have to give you a call and kind of go over that with you over the phone there. You did give me your phone number there. So, see Brad here. Let's see. I ordered a Maverick XL Hybrid on July 12th. I added a spray-in bed liner and trifold cover. I realized only 3% orders constrained. These options are being scheduled for production. I have the patience and wait. Okay. But I really wanted a first-year model. Is there any chance because of constraints that the options I chose will get scheduled won't get scheduled for 22? No, if your order is in, it's going to get scheduled for 22 production. So they've already kind of figured in how many they can build, and they're going to stop it before they get to that number. So that way it won't go into that. Now, Bronco was a totally different horse, totally different animal there, because they had so many that they kind of put them in there, and they took the reservations and everything. Now they didn't. I think on the order wise, they have enough of the Maverick orders that they can produce them a little faster than they can produce Broncos, and that's probably why you're seeing that. So if you have your order in, it will get done. It will be a 22 and be produced in 22. It'll probably continue to get kicked and other ones go over it for a little bit. Just depends on that. So, all right. So we do have a question here. It says, can the AC outlets in the cab and in truck bed be used at the same time? Yeah, they should be able to be. I believe when I tried that out yeah, in fact, I did. I had a Power Boost F-150 that had outlets in the bed as well as in the cab, and I was able to plug things into both, I believe, and they should work. And I do need to check on that because they did ask if I think that the vehicle has to be running to use outlets in the bed. If anybody out there already has their Maverick and knows the answer to that, I'm going to try to get that answer, but I think you have to have the truck running to be able to use the outlets. I know on my truck, when I have it turned off, the outlet in the cab doesn't power my phone if I have it plugged in there. So it stops powering my phone when it's shut off. So I assume it needs to be on for that to be powered. All right, Brandon said, thanks for the videos. Okay. I had one urgent question about toolboxes. What will fit in the bed? Probably gonna need to go to the aftermarket world on that and see what works. I'm sure that a lot of them will start configuring and knowing how wide it is and how tall it is and such, and start putting toolboxes that can go in there. Also had a second question: is it possible to in the future to get a hybrid lifted? Worried about floods in their area. So, the difference is that what we did a lift on was the all-wheel drive version. So if we get a front-wheel drive, and we can probably try to lift one, assuming we can. We did it on a Ranger, though we should be able to lift it as well. It's adding the spacers in there. It just depends on what will work the best, but we should be able to do that. Okay. Let's see. Aaron, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I really enjoy the videos. Thank you. I ordered a Maverick Hybrid XLT non-luxury package on September 1. I tried to order an outlet in the truck bed, but it's not available as an option on non-luxury. Correct. Is it possible to add the outlet later at a dealer? Probably. I don't know if the dealer can do it, but you may be able to order the part because that's basically embedded right into that Kubbi area for that. If you have the luxury package, getting the light and the power and such, and I'm assuming that you just have to try to wire that to it. And I'm not sure if that inverter's there. On the non-luxury packages, they probably don't add the inverter, so it might be hard to be able to do that. So I really don't know, but that would be probably the only thing that would probably stop you there. I can't see the chat here, so let me just go over here and see if there's anything. Oop, there we go. Thing there. Next to a stock Maverick. Oh, that's a good question. Well, somebody did, and I just jumped over the chat just for a second, just to make sure here. But someone did ask about getting a picture of the lifted Maverick next to a stock Maverick. The problem is, might be able to do it now because we actually have one that came in for somebody, so we may be able to, be able to park the lifted by the other one. But again, it's about a 2 inch higher, so and well, a little bit more because you figure in the wheels or the tires being bigger as well. But that's something we can try to do. Go over to my emails. A couple more here. Jeffrey asked, I know you guys haven't received those yet, but they want to. Oh, they're also asking about putting a lift on a hybrid. And if the suspension's the same as the front wheel drive, so hybrid and gas have the same suspension on them. So as long as we can do it on even, we could try to do it on a front wheel drive EcoBoost truck. And then do that. And again, really the big thing there is we don't have any stock ones. So it'd be whether a customer requests it for us to be able to do it, and then we'd be able to know and see if that's something we can be done. But that would be something our aftermarket team should be able to tell us that, and I'll try to get with them this week and have more of an answer next week. But I don't see why we wouldn't be able to put one on there. Like I said, the hybrid suspension itself shouldn't have an issue with putting a lift on it. Okay. Question. Two-wheel drive seems a little bit higher. Okay, so these people asked on a two-wheel drive and 4x4 that looks like the 4x4, the front looks a little bit higher, yeah, I think the front looks a little higher than the two-wheel drives. And I noticed that typically on the F-150s the same way. And I'm not that mechanically inclined to know all the ins and outs about that, but I do believe that the 4x4s do sit a little bit up. And I would think the all-wheel drive suspension, since it being different too, is the same way. So you want it to probably sit up a little bit. So I would probably see that as being true there. Uh, I have not seen pictures of the flex bed accessory package. Have not either. With points, I might get tempted to instead of. Yeah, Ford will have like some of those different things instead of wanting to do it yourself. They're supposed to have the kits and different things, and they'll start showing up on Ford accessories. So go to accessories.ford.com, and I think you can even set up an account in there as well. And then I think you can get notified when some of those things get put in there and added to it. Um, all right, Leon. Let's see. Ford site changed status since I visited the website on 10/20. Is it normal for a build? I also realized that it won't be shipped until later. So they actually had a hybrid with a VIN number. Had the numbers were on the window sticker and everything. And but it hasn't changed status since I visited the website 10/20. Um, I think you were saying there it was built and it just hasn't been shipped. So yeah, it'll stay probably in that status until it gets shipped out. So that's true. So you just gonna have to wait until uh till December, right, for those to get shipped out. Okay. I ordered for a Maverick First Edition with 4K tow package back in August 1st or 2nd. I still don't have a scheduled build date. Ordered from your dealership, even though I'm in New Jersey. Yep, we still have a few EcoBoosts that need to be scheduled, so I'm sure yours are going to be real soon. And I know on first editions that we're probably delaying a little bit on some of those, just because of those bed covers, probably. So you should be getting those scheduled pretty soon. So I think. So yeah, you should hopefully get scheduled real soon on that one because, we do have a few EcoBoost orders that need to be scheduled yet, and so they'll ought to be scheduled pretty soon. So last question here, FYI, my order confirmed email. Okay, cool. So they got their email confirming their order with us. So cool. All right. So back over to the live stream. Let's go, and I wanted to answer some of those, just especially the ones that were emailed throughout this last week. And again, remember, if you're wanting, go ahead and use that Ford Video Guy. Anything for the video, the live stream, for our YouTube channel. If you're wanting to get a vehicle from us, make sure you email the Timothy Barts at Gmail, and that way I can forward it on to our team there, our sales team, because that one is the one I check every day. The Ford Video Guy I'm not checking as often, so I don't want to forget you. So I've had a couple of those situations this week where they wanted to get a vehicle from us after watching our videos, and so they emailed that one. So I'm not checking it as often there, so I'm saving those in there so I can save them for the live stream. So Did you notice that the rear wheels are not centered in the fender? Yeah, it's basically it's the way that suspension sits under there. So when you lift it up, it kind of actually moves it forward just a little bit because it's that shock the way it's set in there. I don't know if you saw that in the video, but I had an image of that shock is like it kind of sits at that angle. So when you add the lift, it's kind of taking it, it's taking the wheel I think a little back a little bit just because the way it sits. Okay, I am getting my hybrid lift. All right, I was able to finally see a local mannequin, Maverick, to see exactly what those false cubbies are on the XL and scan the QR code. There's some really simple ads a DIY can do. Cool. Yeah, there should be quite a few. Hopefully, Ford gets even more. And, there's going to be all kinds of stuff to do with that flex bed. So I think everybody will enjoy that. Uh, so 40% is good, right? You said 4% is scheduled with a Lariat still delivering in 22. So yeah, 40%, not quite as good as like a 50-50. So hopefully they kind of ramp up the EcoBoost or the hybrid orders soon. I mean, I think they're getting a lot of. I know for us, we're getting down to where we're over 250 hybrid orders versus EcoBoost orders. So hopefully we see a lot more of those hybrids being scheduled now. I did say they did tell us, they said, now that they've had that situation kind of clarified on the hybrid, that they're going to start that should be good to start scheduling more of those. So I think they have, even though they were like doing some hybrids, I think they were limiting how many they were doing early on because they knew the EPA wasn't done yet and they didn't want to have a bunch of them sitting. So I think that's why we saw some delay. Now Ford didn't tell us any of that. In fact, I had someone that commented on several of my videos that had said that keep in mind that we have a lot of orders and because of how many are being scheduled. Last month we had 20 allocations, but they did tell us that they were all EcoBoost orders. So it looks like last month Ford didn't schedule a lot of hybrid orders, and they didn't tell dealers that until after the month was over. So they kind of told us this just recently, and someone had wanted me to go back and recant something that I said back in October 7th. But whenever I put stuff on social media, that is information that I know as of that day. That is sourced from Ford. So you got to remember that I work for I'm a Ford dealer, and I'm trying to get you every information that I can, but I also have to work real closely with Ford. So if I bring some stuff out there that gets everybody going in a tangent, not the way Ford wants the narrative, as they say, to go, then that doesn't help the relationship that we have with Ford. So, and of course, that also, I'm getting information from Ford to be able to share with you guys. So I'm giving you everything we can give you. We'll see. I think that we're going to see more and more of those. And again, you kind of want to make sure they have that all in place anyway before those get produced out. So I don't really think, and keep in mind, I mean, that Ford did say, we still are only. It is now November 11th, November 2nd. I mean, and we are in. They've had 6 weeks of production, so keep that in mind. They've really just started production on the Maverick. So they started September 13th for production on the Maverick for customer builds. So they've had 6 weeks of production is all we've had so far. So it is getting, it's getting ramped up. It's getting moving, especially, those hybrids. I know they're saying that was going to be a standard hybrid, but they still needed to roll out it. The 2.0 they had going. This is a new system for Ford, and so they needed to get production of the hybrid engine and motor, ramped up. So just keep that in mind. Be patient, especially those that want that hybrid and wanting that great fuel economy. It's going to be worth the wait there. I ordered an EcoBoost front-wheel drive in the middle of October with luxury package and Ford Copilot, Ford 360, and nothing else in terms of extras. When could I expect a VIN or build date? Well, really, you did a luxury package, which is a little bit limited in production. Copilot 360 doesn't affect you, but you just ordered in October, which is just this last month. You're probably going to be a little while. Really depends on the allocations at the dealer. If it was ordered with us, we still have about 50 EcoBoost not scheduled. So it really depends, again, how many allocations we have. But if you didn't have the luxury package, you'd probably be able to be moved up above some of the people with the luxury packages. But it really just depends on what Ford's looking for. Again, they know what they want and what they're scheduling for. So that's kind of the way it goes there. So we really don't know. But hopefully, maybe scheduled this maybe December. So I don't know if you get scheduled in November based on how late you ordered, but maybe you get scheduled in December for a January build date. So, and then that means getting it, maybe in February or March. Again, kind of like the guideline said, if you just ordered in October, you probably expect, January, February delivery on an EcoBoost right now. Um, all right. Do you know anything about the Radler being tested? I do not. I've heard some talk about that, about a prototype on that, but I have not. Not much information on that. What will be the delay with the factory closed this week? Mine was scheduled to be built, so what is Ford saying about it? Ford hasn't said anything about it. We see a lot of this. We see this happen from time to time where the plant shuts down for a couple days, and that happened with Bronco. I remember I was waiting for mine to get scheduled, and then I heard the plant shut down for a little while on Bronco. They needed to fix some things, or if they're having supply issues and getting the supplies in from their vendors, they don't have a choice but to shut down until they get those supplies from those vendors so they can start making them. So that's just going to push everybody's back probably 1 week is probably what that's going to happen. But Ford hasn't said anything about that. I think that news just came out from the factory. So when do monthly sales and orders usually come out from Ford? Um, Monthly sales and orders. Yeah, I think you're meaning like when we see schedules. That's going to be next week. So next week is when the production is going to really ramp up for November scheduling and production for whatever month it says according to that based on the model. So we're going to get our final numbers by Thursday of this week, and we'll know. So like next Tuesday, which will be the first a week of scheduling. Next, of course, a week from this Thursday, that's when we're going to see scheduling get done. They're going to start seeing scheduling for November. We'll have numbers. So next Tuesday, I'll be able to share how many allocations we had for Maverick, if you're wanting to know that. So I do have some numbers for like they gave us some numbers that are non-CVOP numbers, which means that Ford does want to see those. So that means stock allocations is all we have numbers on so far. So we have some pretty good numbers, for most of our models. Of course, Maverick, we have zero because we have no stock. They're not going to schedule any stock allocations. But we don't have our COVP numbers in there yet, which is all the customer ones that are added to the COVP process. So we don't have that number yet. So we're just kind of waiting for that. So hopefully we see some good numbers. But they said tomorrow, but no one, I mean, it'd probably be Thursday. And I could probably share that, on social media and such. But so that's what we're looking at right now. Just waiting to get those final numbers from Ford. My 22 Bronco build is exactly what you said, Tim. 4-door base, auxiliary switches only. Can you check on possible pull date? I can look and see. I don't know if you get scheduled, you would have got an email. So I really, until it gets scheduled, I really have no other information. I can actually look and see if they looked at it and moved it to status or priority 2. That's about all we can see there. I can look at that tomorrow for you. Thank you. I didn't realize it was only 6 weeks. I will put my straight jacket back on. Wait, sorry, I didn't mean to be blunt. Hopefully, I didn't come across that way. But yeah, I mean, that's I didn't think about it until recently. I thought about or I think it was early today. I was talking to somebody. I was like, we've really only had 6 weeks of production on it. So we have, they're scheduling out several months in advance. And so, those that haven't been scheduled, it is kind of frustrating because that if you're getting scheduled, if you haven't been scheduled yet, because they are scheduling for December. They've already scheduled for December last month. So you're scheduling 2 months in advance. So that's, that's kind of the hard thing is that too, like for my Bronco, it was like 1 month in advance. So I got scheduled and then it was scheduled for the next month. So it was a little bit easier. So, but that is hard part. And just having to wait. I get it. I've actually been waiting for my Bronco since January. So I ordered mine in January with a bunch of other people, and so I've been waiting, quite a while for mine as well. So I understand. Do you know if the Broncos? All right. Do you know if the Broncos Sport sunroof recall has affected the Maverick? We haven't seen it yet. I mean, we kind of. I know Johnny had some early videos where he had, based on, since they are built the same factory and such, having issues with getting the moonroofs would cause some issues with the Maverick. That was initial thought, but we haven't really seen that yet. So as of right now, you got to remember that. So as of today, is what we know right now. They're not saying there's any issues with moonroofs, and I don't know if that's just because not as many people are ordering the moonroof with the Maverick. I'm not sure. Different from the people that are ordering the Bronco Sport. Well, I do know too. The difference on Bronco Sport as well was the moonroofs were included in packages on the Bronco Sport last year. So in 21, if you ordered a Big Bend package, or you ordered an Outer Banks package, or you ordered the Badlands package, it came with a moonroof. So it's kind of like the spray and liner for the Maverick, really, in that same sense, is that even though you didn't want it, it's in the package. So because of that, they need to be able to have more of those in stock. So they figured that out for this year, and its moonroof is not included in those packages. They renamed them instead of being, the Big Bend package and such for the Bronco Sport. Now you have a premium package and such, and those different packages. So they have renamed them for this year and not included the moonroof for that reason. So, and that's probably what they learned with Maverick as well. They learn from their mistakes, and that's what I like about Ford, is that they listen to customers, they learn from their mistakes, and they try to do better. And so I think that's great. That they didn't include that. Now what I like them to see is, I like them to not include the spray and bed liner in the luxury package. That would, I think, really fix a lot of issues we're having on the Maverick right now, with some of the delays on some things and some orders not getting picked up because of what's really delaying the luxury package, or those that are not getting. The reason those percentages are lower is because they have the spray and liner in them. So take the spray and liner off. Heck, let's just go ahead and switch it over to job 2 now, and let's take the spray and bed liners off that package, and then let customers to add it on as a standalone option if they want it, or leave it off and have the dealer do it. That's what I think they should do. All right, so question: after you place your Maverick reservation, how long does it take for me to get the Ford email saying my order was confirmed? I placed order 10/22 and have not heard anything from Ford. Um, Depends on the dealer. So as long as you get it about 5 minutes after the dealer submits the order with your email address and your information. So some dealers, what they'll do is they'll go ahead in the webdo and they'll order the vehicle and not put your email address in the profile. And so the order gets submitted in to Ford, but you won't get the email. So as long as when they go to submit that to Ford, your email address is in there, that's when you're going to get the email. So we figured this out, a couple months ago, back in July, I think it was, that we figured this out, and we started adding people's email addresses into the orders we already had. We did miss a few, I think, because I noticed that there were a few that did not get the emails. But out of our 160 at the time, I think we have, it looks like about, because I actually have them here. I need to email customers, but we have about 12 people that did not get their email address put in there, so they're not getting the email communication from Ford. So, but as soon as that order is submitted, you get it within 5 minutes. I did an expedition order for my wife recently. I think I mentioned it earlier. And, I submitted the order, and I don't have the paperwork in. I didn't get signed everything and all that, because I actually might change the color on it. But I received the email because I submitted the order with that email address in there. So you'll get it right away. If you didn't get it right away, that means the dealership either hasn't submitted the order, maybe they gave you the information, but they didn't, and maybe they just previewed and they didn't hit the final submit button, or they did not include your email address when they submitted the order, which is probably the case. So here, we do actually have a lot of, Stephen, I think you had said that you're the ambassador in Albuquerque. I know we do have several Arizona orders, and so I appreciate that. So did I hear right that the Mach 1 is only going to be 600A and 22? Correct. That is correct. That's what they told us. Let me double check that. That's why I left this here, because I knew I'd reference it at least once during this. I think Mustang was one of the first ones they talked about. Here we go. Yep. 22 Mustang, it says Mach 1 Retails only, it says 600A in parentheses, and it says no 700A. And it also says production volumes will be light for 22. So, all right. Let's see down here. Are you making up? Are you marking up Mach 1s? Any Mach 1s are only going to be customer orders, so we would probably not. So probably be MSRP just like we do any other custom order. We all custom orders, if we're going to order a specific build for somebody, we don't mark it up. We do MSRP on all of them. So, there are some exclusions to that. Raptor was one of them, just because it was a low run year. And maybe if Mach 1 is going to be maybe if it's going to be limited this year and how many we can do, how many allocations we get, then we may. So I don't know that information yet. That's really not for me to say. But typically, if it's a vehicle that's going to have plenty of production, we do MSRP on all those. And sometimes if there's a very limited, like GT500, where they're only going to do so many, only a few for each dealer that's enrolled, that kind of thing. Raptor was one; it was a limited production. So since that is being, it says volume is light. Not sure, so we may do that. I'm not sure we did in 21. I don't think we did in 21. I think we did MSRP, but 21 we can order them as stock. Not this year, so I'm not sure. So it says I have a 22 Explorer XLT on order since 8/7. Will the tow package and or Copilot 360 Plus slow this order down? Oh, so you had a 22 on order. Yes, it probably will. I'd love to be able to say something different there, Paul, but it 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 probably will. Is I don't know if it's already been scheduled though, it shouldn't. But if it hasn't been scheduled, which it sounds like it hasn't, then it could cause it to be not be scheduled because of those packages. But those are good packages, especially like Copilot 360 Plus. I'd leave it on there. Those are packages you can't get you can't. Those aren't accessories. So it's one of those things that I think I'd try to leave it on there. And based on what allocations we have, that might have a lot to do. And I think you have yours in with us, if I remember right. Hold on. Of course, that'd be a COVP, so it wouldn't be counted in here. But I mean, we're supposed to get on Explorer. Looks like we're supposed to get 9 orders, and I think those are the retail. So we don't have our COVP numbers yet, but so we still have several of those, and we don't have a lot of those orders in. I don't think, although we did ask for 39 supplements. So, okay. Based on the hype around the Maverick, do you foresee a big aftermarket for this truck? Yeah, we are. I think that's like we've talked about a lot of our orders. Because the covers, the spray and liners, and different things like that are slowing up the scheduling. A lot of people are taking those off, and so that's opportunity for the aftermarket to be able to do a lot of things with it. I mean, just being a truck too, because I know there's a lot of you out there that the Maverick is the first truck that you've owned or that you're going to own. And so when you get a truck, I know when I first got my truck, I wanted to add all kinds of different accessories for it. There's bed covers, toolboxes, there's kind of all kinds of things and for it. And what's great about the Maverick is that a lot of stuff you can do it yourself. You can come up with your own ideas with that flex bed, which I think is just great. So you can save some money, creating your own things for your bed. It's for diverting production capacity from the Maverick to the Lightning at the Van Dyke Electric Power Plant Center. I don't think so. I think I'd have to do a little more research on this. I'll admit I don't. For one, don't always have time to do enough research on what plants are building what. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that plant is or working primarily on the electric powertrain, not just the hybrid. I think that actually it might be building the hybrid engine as well, or the motor. I think it is. So I don't know. I know that they're adding more for that, and they're not producing right now. They're not producing the Lightning yet. They won't. I think production isn't going to be until like March probably. So we should still get a lot of production and pumping out a lot of those for the Mavericks hopefully by then. So okay. At least I've cut up all the ones. I kind of focus on the ones that actually tag Long MacArthur first in there and try to cover those questions. I need to take a drink. All right. So, okay. One thing I did want to show you, I know over here we did this week is SEMA. So that's, totally custom builds and such like that. And I wanted to go. did not get a chance to go, but our general manager and our aftermarket manager is at SEMA, and they gave me some pictures to share on the stream. So we're going to go over, click on that. Is my volume still working? Yes. Okay. So let me show you a couple pictures that they gathered from over there. Now, this is actually I got from Ford Media. So that is a Maverick. First couple are going to be Mavericks. So that's a Maverick that they custom. That you can see they put, that bed cover or topper is what I like to call it. That shell on there, and they painted it yellow. And then of course you got the lights on there. Put the lights on the front. There's some other images that I don't have, but of that. But that's pretty cool what they've done there for going out for rescue there. So that's pretty cool. There's another Maverick there. You can see they put a lift on it and some wheels, tires. Looks pretty cool. They put the red topper on that one on the hot pepper red truck, and it looks like that almost looks like the first edition because of the hood graphic, and the top of the roof is painted black. So almost like they took a first edition and then added that to it. But I do like the wheel lip moldings on that too. Looks really tough, and then even the bottom down there. So yeah, looks pretty good. Um, there's another one that was done, and I don't have who all did these different ones. I didn't document that. I just gathered these real quick, like at 5 o'clock or right before the live stream started. So I don't have a lot of information on which custom made, but you can tell they lowered this one down. They put painted fender flares around there, of course wider wheels there, and didn't spoiler on the bottom. They actually got tow hooks on the front. So I'm wondering if this was an FX4 package that they lowered and then painted those tow hooks on the front up there. So it looks pretty sharp. Looks like it might have been body colored mirror caps there. Put a little spoiler on the back. So pretty cool. So lowered that one. Let's see, I think I have some. There's a Bronco Sport there. Checked out that different graphics on the side. Looks pretty cool. And of course, a rack on the top and light bar up there. And a lot of that's factory, other than the paint graphic on it, or the graphics that they put on that. Um, you know, you get a black roof on those if you go Outer Banks and above. So this could easily be an Outer Banks or a Badlands edition with the black top, and they just put the rack on the top and then put the graphics on the side, painted the wheels. Pretty sharp there. And then here's some Broncos here, and there was a ton of Broncos there. All kinds of companies that were customizing Broncos, which those they said at the very beginning would be very modular. So you see a lot of those here. So this is one of them. There's another one. That there, I believe, is one of the. Yep, it is. That is an RTR right there, and those rock rails there are the rock rails that I want, but they were not available until after SEMA. Since my rock rails aren't in from the factory ones, maybe I'll switch it. But I like those rock rails there on that one, because what's great about them is that it kind of finishes out the bottom, but also allows you to be able to step up on there and reach to the top of the Bronco. So that's pretty cool. There you go. There is a Mach E Shelby. So they're thinking, and you can tell there where they're going to probably do a Shelby package for the Mach E. So that's kind of a glimpse of where they could be going with that right there. Pretty cool, course graphics and such for a Shelby conversion on the Mach E. And then they had, of course, the F-150 Lightning there. So there's a side view with that frunk open, and then so that looks pretty cool. And then there is a Bronco that is going to be a production Bronco right there. So that is the Bronco DR is what they're calling that, Desert Runner, and it is going to be a 5.0 liter V8 engine, off-road course suspension and such, upgraded shocks and such. It is going to be production, so you can take that from production for, I think it's going to be a 23 or maybe late 22, and you're going to be able to order that from the factory that way and take it out and race with it. So if you want to just take a stock one out, it's going to be ready to go from the factory, and they're going to ramp it up to a 5.0 liter V8 engine. So there you go. So Pretty cool. So some of the things at SEMA that I gathered, got some pictures of. Ford has some other things as well that they had there, but I didn't include all those. I kind of want to limit it at 10 there. But anyway, so I've heard rumors that hybrid Maverick orders are being suspended until Ford can catch up with demand. Have you heard anything like that? I don't think so. I think right now, because they know that they're not going to be able to ship out, that's why I think they were scheduling less vehicles, less hybrids, was because they didn't want them just sitting. And if you have a hybrid on order, and it's already been built, and knowing that that's sitting there in a lot somewhere, I'm sure you'd rather have one built and then shipped out, that kind of thing. So I think what they were thinking is, let's get some of these EcoBoosts out and shipped out, and then, and keep ramping up on those. So they haven't told us anything, but that's kind of my assumption. I mean, just like with all the Broncos that are sitting, that happened with Bronco. They had issues with those covers, the tops, and so a lot of those Broncos set what they called on dirt mountain, right? And they sat there because they had issues with the hard tops until they could get the hard tops fixed. So what did they do? They started producing a lot of cloth tops so they could get a bunch of ones that had cloth tops. And so they just focused their efforts on those and kicked out as many of those as they can. So I'm sure they're doing the same thing with the Maverick, knowing that EPA is going to be December before they can get those okay to buy. Why produce a bunch of hybrids right now and just have them set when they can focus in and get those EcoBoosts and get them shipped out? So that would, I mean, they haven't said anything, but that would be my assumption. I mean, if it were, if you think about it that way, I mean, that might be a way to go there. So, the questions I missed there. If I missed your question, go ahead and put it in there now. I'll try to make sure I answer it. I tend to see to lean forward in these videos just because my microphone's. I might have to move my mic or something. Or WeatherTech for the front floor mats, waiting for them to make the rear ones now. It's kind of weird. WeatherTech. I thought WeatherTech had the rear mats as well. I thought when you ordered it, you got front and rear from WeatherTech. I know you can get the factory ones. I actually like the factory ones a little bit better than WeatherTech. Just me personally, I think the WeatherTechs are a little of a slicker material than the ones from Ford. I think Fords are more of a grippy material. That's what I got for my Bronco because I was going to get some WeatherTechs and then I'd see how some of them were in the F-150 and I decided on like the Roush and such. So then I decided I wanted to. Then I saw some of the factory ones that they're putting on the Bronco, and I really like those. So I went ahead and added those to my Bronco order before it was scheduled, and so I have the mats. But I also now I am getting the Roush mats, but I'm probably gonna leave the Bronco ones in those. And just put since I didn't get one in the cargo area, I probably put the Roush one in the back in the cargo area though. So, all right. Summer experience rattling interiors. Would this be a warranty repair? Yes. Yep. Should be. 3 or 36,000 on that, so that should cover that would cover that as well. So, and we're probably going to see. That's the thing is some of those early ones, we've seen that for years. Some of those first ones, I mean, I'm not scared to get a first year production vehicle. I'm getting a Bronco. I'm getting a Lightning. I have a Maverick on order that I may cancel if I decide I may not want to get it. I don't want to have my order in the way of getting scheduled ahead of one of our customers if I don't plan on keeping it. And also I encourage others, I was going to mention that too, if you have an order with us and you know that you're not going to get it, hasn't been scheduled yet, let us know and let us just cancel that order, so that way we can have others, because we've had a couple come in recently where we've had, I think, 3 in the last couple of weeks where customers didn't take their Maverick, and we go ahead and sell it, which isn't a huge deal for us, but we need to match up. Ford is looking at that, and we have to keep that certain percentage. And also, if you don't think you're going to get it, that also can help somebody else get theirs produced a little bit faster. So keep that in mind. So if you have an order on with us, make sure if you're not going to get it, if you decide you don't want it or something like that, and it hasn't been scheduled yet, let us know so we can go ahead and cancel that order, and then move some other people up. And then Samantha said one fellow in the Maverick forum has a leaking transmission. So yeah, we might see a few of those situations. Hopefully not too many, but hopefully we you're going to see a little bit of that just in trying to produce those. They're trying to produce as many as they can as fast as they can, and They do a pretty good job, I think, but sometimes you kind of see that. So Tim wants to know the weight of the steel wheel. I don't know. You mean like how heavy it is? I'm not sure. That's a good question. Or maybe the steel strength. I don't know. Or like the, not sure. Yeah, but your warranty, that's the thing about having a warranty, 3 year 36. I've had people ask how much, the batteries are going to be to replace on the, the hybrid batteries and such. And keep in mind you have on the batteries, you have an 8 year, 100,000 mile warranty. So you have 8 years before we find out, but, one of the things you'll find out is that those are going to last a little bit longer than those warranties are, especially on the hybrids. I mean, those hybrid batteries, they tend to do really well. When I went to the F-150 Lightning training they had, and they were talking about that, they said some of the very first, hybrid Escape hybrids they made Escape hybrids there for a while, that they said some of those are still in operation in San Francisco, and they're running, and they're over 400,000 or 500,000 miles on that same battery, and they still are at 97 effectiveness of from what it was originally at the factory. And said, in fact, they've said, because they were using them as taxis down there, and they actually said they've replaced the seats like 3 or 4 times over, but they haven't had to replace the batteries packs. And so, which is kind of cool. So I think they'll last longer than most people think. You're gonna have a bad one here and there. That's just typical. Things are mechanical. It happens. I mean, how many of you had a cell phone, right? And you have that battery just not last long enough. And how you charge, of course, on a hybrid is a little bit different. But on a full electric, you got to remember, especially those that are thinking about getting Mach-E's and F-150 Lightnings, you don't want to charge that to full. You want it to kind of stop short of that. So that's what's great about being able to schedule those through your app and such, is that you don't want to go all the way down, and you don't want to also charge all the way up. And you want to do the same thing with your cell phones as well. You don't want to charge them. I charge mine overnight. I know it could affect mine, but best thing to do is for you to charge your phone during the day. See, mine's been charging here, and then actually it's now at 100%. But I mean, so you typically take it off before it hits 100%, is what they say, and your batteries will last a lot longer. And that goes for your vehicles too. So Ford did say they're about to stop taking hybrid orders for 22. Yes, they did tell me that. They told us that today. I did find out. They said that they are going to really soon stop taking orders for hybrids. So, there's more to that, I think you said. For this, my 22 potentially any day now. Correct. Yes, that's correct. My order's already in, but just wanted to clarify for others. Yes, you're right, Mark. They are about ready to stop taking orders on hybrids. In fact, they'll take the hybrid. They said they're going to be taking it off the website soon. So that means that what you'll see on the website is EcoBoost only option on the build and price. So they'll take the hybrid option completely off there real soon. Thanks for joining us, Samantha. Appreciate you coming on. Don't forget to show us a pic of my Maverick tab. Actually, I have it on my phone. I don't have it on my. Here, let me see if I can email it over. It'll show us that. There it is. And by the way, Steven, are you coming to the dealership to pick up your Maverick, or are you having it shipped to you? I guess you're in Arizona, aren't you? But you might do that. So, okay, let's get that here. Well, it's not coming through. All right, downloading it now. There we go. Let's throw that in here. All right, so you want to see your truck? Let's see if we can pull it in here. Give me a second. It's a little big. My phone takes them as really big images. There you go. There's your truck, Steven. So it is here. So, and I did check it out, and they haven't touched the plastic on the seats or anything. So XL, don't think you had a lot added to that, which is why yours got scheduled really fast. So there you go. So, and it's sitting right beside an Area 51 Maverick right back there too. That is a custom order that's waiting to go out. And just to the left is actually a Bronco Sport that was ordered for a customer that could not take it, and it is available now. But anyway, so there you go. There, now we're back. Okay. So, any other questions for me tonight? Let's see. You guys ship my Maverick. If you guys ship my Maverick, Tim, how long would I expect to wait? I'm not sure on that. I'm not really in on that process. I know sometimes they will be here like a week before the shipper, picks up, able to pick one up. But I think they're pretty quick. I mean, we had a bunch come in, and I think they were getting picked up within a couple days. And then once it gets picked up, I mean, probably expect, less than a couple days, maybe a week, to get to you. So typically, shouldn't be too long. Every battery cost is $11,000 to replace. Oh, thanks, JR. So there you go. So if you're needing to know what replacement of that, of course, Ford's going to cover it for the first 8 years or 100,000 miles. So, Tim, will you do a video of Maverick for us to see? I could do that if that's okay with Steven. So I like to get permission from the current owner. I do want to do a video on if it's okay with him, without taking the plastic off or anything. But I'd like to do one on the, what the XL looks like across there, going over the switches and different things like that. Because there are some people asked that didn't realize what certain switches did. So I could always do that on an XL. So. Okay, so Vicky asked, they saw on a couple forums that the steering wheel wasn't fully attached or missing a bolt. Can this be fixed at the dealership? Yes, it can. So anything can be taken care of, especially dealerships that have a body shop. Shouldn't be any issue fixing any of that stuff like that. Something like that happens, just go to your local Ford dealer, and it's covered under warranty. You're good to go there. Can you still make additions to your Maverick orders? If they haven't been scheduled, yes. Or they're not in priority 2. As long as they're in priority, they're sitting in that priority 10 to 19. Yes, they can be added. And Jolly, you asked about the Ford Video Guy email. You got it. It's fordvideoguy@gmail.com. All one word, Ford Video Guy. And I actually have it in a chat there, right below the chat on the screen. I don't know if you can see it there, right above the Facebook, and there I leave it right there on that screen. I added that today. So that if you have any questions, you can email it right there, right above the Facebook and Twitter icons there is fordvideoguy@gmail. Make sure I didn't misspell it. So there you go. Yeah, just to the right of the phone. Right there. So I appreciate everybody getting on here. I will be honest. When I decided to do the live stream, I really thought once the Maverick started showing up at dealers and such, that a lot of you, because I really felt like a lot of the Maverick people on here, that the people joining me on the chat would go down and have less questions and such. And so I appreciate you sticking with me and staying on here and asking me questions, and so I appreciate that. Get a lapel mic, Tim. You don't have to worry about it. Position yourself. Yeah, I actually do have one of those mics. I just don't have it working with the OBS here with my desktop. So I have one that I use for my videos when I'm out using a camera. But so I actually thought about it for some of my other videos. Sometimes I'll use it in my videos. So I do have one, but so, and probably since there's nobody in here typically at 7 p.m. in the dealership, I probably could open up the mic settings. I don't know. I'm not real good with the mic settings, but I probably could open that up to where I not have to worry about any background noise. But I like to have that. I used it for also my videos during the day when we're open. So I don't want a lot of background noise and people, hollering and music in the background, picking that up. So that's why I'm struggling and figuring that out. So real new to this. So would it be quicker if I flew in and drove it home? Well, I mean, we'd have the vehicle, we'd have it ready for you. I mean, it really is up to you. I was just curious if you were coming in or not. So I like to meet as many people as I can. So if I know that you're coming in, I want to make sure that I'm here and I can meet you if you come in. So feel free to do a complete walk around and show everybody exactly what XL includes. Now, Steven, if I remember right, is yours just an XL? Did you add anything to it? I can't remember if you added. I don't think you added. Of course, there's not a lot you can probably add, but I don't think you added a moonroof or anything like that or sliding rear window. But I didn't know if you added a tow package or anything to it. Um, Bill, you have a great valid question. I don't know. I know they did the same thing with Bronco. There's a lot of people that struggled with, getting their Bronco and, not getting um, scheduled, based on the dealer having allocations, Um, that was kind of a worry about ours when we were getting a lot of orders, was not being able to get them all scheduled and get them built. But even dealers that have a smaller amount, I have a guy that calls me every once in a while down in San Diego, and he was one of the very first ones scheduled at his dealership. He scheduled a hybrid, or he ordered a hybrid. Like on the second day, you could order vehicles, and he just got scheduled last week. So really, I mean, but one thing would kind of, just really depends on the dealership, because that dealership, I know he struggled a little bit with that dealer, making sure they did it correctly and such. Because I wonder, because typically if you have allocations, the first week is when all of them get scheduled. So like last month we had 20 allocations, 18 of the 20 got scheduled the first week, and then the other two got scheduled the second week. If your vehicles are getting scheduled in that third and fourth week, then that means that there was something, the dealer, either there was other ones there, but they're all going to get all the allocations are going to get used if you have orders that are that they're looking for. So either you don't have orders that fit that bill, or there's something the dealership didn't submit it through the COVP. And so I know that the last couple months, they've really been harping on the dealers. We've already been doing it that way since the very beginning, since June. We've been ordering them that way, so that was not new to us, but a lot of dealerships it was. And so there are a lot of dealerships that didn't know that. And so they've been trying to tell more dealers at the meetings that they have, the wholesale meetings, to make sure you have your COVP. And they're showing them original numbers, and they're like, those don't include the COVPs. Make sure they're done. And they give them till the first of the month to have as many orders into that COVP as possible. So I wonder, some of those times, some of it has to do with the dealerships. But again, just with that dealer, they had a small amount of orders, and they get a small amount of allocations each month. We get, the most allocations of anybody in our region based on how many we have. So I think it's still a percentage wise. And that's exactly what they said they did last month, was that they looked at the deal at EcoBoost orders in their region, and they took the allocation they had, and they took it by percentage based on what EcoBoost were at the dealerships in their region, and that's how we ended up with 20. We still got a major chunk of allocations, because the region only had, I think, 53 allocations last month, because there weren't as many EcoBoost orders. So that's just how that worked. So. Well, Stephen, I don't know how tall you are, but you always have that flex bed. You can put the bed down, and it's 6 feet long, so you can always sleep in the back of the bed on the way back if you need to. We'll make sure you have us add a tonneau cover, and you can put tonneau cover, and you just get underneath there, right? It's a little cold right here. It's like, for us, it's getting cold, but that's typical right this time of the year. You're kind of ready. We're ready for colder weather in Kansas here, because it's November now, right? So. XOT was built September 10th. Should I expect to have battery problems when it arrives in January? I don't think so, and I don't. I'm not the best that probably can answer this, but I mean, like we have a hybrid, and if we don't drive it all the time, the battery will run dead, and then we can't start it. But I mean, I'm not gonna keep jumping it. I mean, that would probably affect it more than just letting it sit with a dead battery. Kind of like your phone. If the phone's battery's dead, shouldn't affect the battery, while it's sitting there, So it's better off for it to sit there dead. It shouldn't cause any more issues until and then when they are ready to ship them, of course they'll charge them up and then ship them out. So they should be okay. But I don't know for sure, to be honest. The Ford will no longer be taking first edition orders. Correct. Yeah, first editions are done for, well, ever. So they won't have first edition next year. This is the only year. So 2022, only year. So you cannot order a first edition anymore on the Maverick. Okay, we'll build hybrids sitting. Okay, I answered that, Kim, I think. If you fan is still on McArthur Fords, they will probably pick up. Yes, we will pick you up at the airport. So. All right, so see, Jeffrey said, Tim, mine is a small dealer. When I ordered October 1st, they had 10 most hybrids. How many do you think they should have scheduled by now? So they had maybe 10 at most, is that what you're saying? So how many should they have scheduled by now? Well, we've only had 13 scheduled of our over 200. So, maybe just a couple, one or two would be my thought. So. Yep, that's also something. Yeah, Stephen, if you want to if you want to fly in, we'll pay for your flight. So, and then on a room for a night. If you want to do that. So that's another thing you can do. We'll pick you up at the airport. We'll pay for your flight in. If you're planning to finance with us, so we'll do either free shipping or we'll pay for the cost of the flight here. Flights shouldn't be too expensive from Arizona, I would think. So. Okay. We actually do have an airport here in Salina, but we also there's more flights that go into Wichita. So here in Salina, usually if you don't get like a really really early flight, it's what I found. It's hard to fly into Salina. Flying out of isn't so bad, but flying into Salina is difficult. So we usually have people. I mean, you might have easier luck flying into Wichita. We do. There's also another one in Manhattan that you can fly into. It's about an hour from here. So Wichita's about an hour, 15 hour and a half to get there. Either one will pick you up on any of those airports. But it seems like Wichita is easier to fly into and get flights into that kind of arrive, so you don't have to leave where you're at too early in the morning and that kind of thing. I'm not a morning guy, so I always look for that. So. Do we get 4 points for buying a Ford? Yes, you get enough points. It's supposed to be for like 2 or 3 oil changes, I think 2 oil changes or something, a tire rotation. So you're gonna get enough points. You can use it for oil changes. You can also use it for, I mentioned it a couple times that I have a Ford Pass credit card that I use like a debit card almost, and then I just pay it off at the end of the month. I just save that money in my account, save it off at the end of the month, and I rack up so many points because you get like it's kind of like a Discover card where you get more points for certain types of purchases. And so like if I get gas with it, or I get like anytime I go on a business trip, I use that credit card for my hotel and my flights, and so it like gets like 3 or 4% more points, and it's for rewards points. So I don't think I've paid for an oil change in like a couple years now since I got it. So I really like using the Ford Pass points for that, and I've racked up enough that I'm probably gonna get some accessories with them as well. Yeah, Wichita. All right, so we're going on 8:34. All right. hard trifold bed cover. Can you shut the tailgate while the cover is closed? Um, should be able to. Usually, you typically want to shut the tailgate first and then finish doing the cover. But I think it will work either way. I'd have to look. I can't remember. I usually don't get the trifold covers myself. In fact, I don't have one on my truck right now, but um, I keep telling myself to buy one of those roll up ones. But now I don't even know if I'm gonna. I might trade it in on my Bronco. To be honest, I'm not sure, but I like the roll up covers. But the hard folding and the soft folding actually they cover up over the bed or the tailgate, so you probably do have to shut the tailgate first and then the bed cover. I do that when we do videos on vehicles that have bed covers. I typically do the tailgate first and then I close the bed cover. I got the XL Maverick. How do I get the points added? When once you actually fulfill once you go ahead and take delivery of the Maverick is when you get the points, I believe. Okay, so David said that he has a VIN and the latest hybrid build date was 11/1, but I hear the factory shut down on 11/1. Will I get a new build date? Um, yes, you will. So yeah, I think it's shut down. Yeah, it shut down this week. So it probably will move your build date to next week. So you probably be getting an email pretty soon showing you that. Probably if you go into your order now and see what the tracking is, it probably actually has already selected a new date for you. Yeah, and if you're coming to the dealership here to pick up your vehicle, I definitely want to be here for you. So let me know that you're coming. You have my email addresses there, so email me, let you know you're coming. Love to get pictures with you, and really up to you if you want to share it. I share it on live stream. I'd share the picture, on our social media. But of course, I definitely want like meeting everybody, especially people that are on the chat here. I love, talking to people and getting to see them when they come in and pick up their vehicles. So definitely make sure you tell me you're coming in so that I can say hi and we can get pictures and even maybe a video too if you want. So I've actually done videos for customers that had custom builds done that wanted me that watched the videos and wanted me to do a video on their truck. So I'll do a video too if you want, and I'll even post it out there and on our YouTube channel and such. So once you I have the Ford Pass. Does it automatically add to my points once purchased the Maverick? Yeah. So I think once Ford receives the deal, and all the paperwork and everything, once they receive that, then I think it takes a little while, but the points do show up on there. So it probably won't be right away, but it will be, should be shortly after you purchase the vehicle, probably within a month or so. But it may not be right away, so it may take a little bit of time. So I guess if you're wanting to use it for aftermarket parts, I don't know. That might be something to check. And so, but a lot of times, especially if you're having it shipped here and you're coming to pick it up, or we're shipping it to you, if you go ahead and we know how much it's going to cost, we can put that on there and then into your deal or whatever. Then, we can sometimes use that points. Then once we give that to Ford, then we can use the points to take care of that. So, not sure on that. That's a good question, so I'll have to find out. Any idea how soon after Law MacArthur aftermarket department can add on some build items after delivery of the uh, Maverick to Law MacArthur? Usually pretty quick. We do, in fact, sometimes, it really depends on the opening and what they have, because there's sometimes where they don't have any appointments, they don't have any spray and liners scheduled, and so they'll actually pull vehicles off the lot to put spray and liners on them and tint and such like that. So usually, as soon as those come in, your salesperson should be giving you a call to ask if you want to add anything to you, and at that point, go ahead and start talking about financing. And before we even do the financing, we usually have you talk to aftermarket, find out what you want added to yours. And we can also too, you can call directly to our aftermarket department. So Blake and Niles and Sean are the 3 guys in our aftermarket department. So you can always, if you know that, if you see that yours has been built and you have a estimated delivery date, feel free to call them ahead of time and say, hey, my truck's going to be coming in soon. I just want to make sure when it gets there that we add these things to it, and let them know ahead of time. They'll go ahead and try to schedule, at least leave some opening for you to be able to get that done, especially once it gets here. We don't know the exact date, but usually once it gets here, then as soon as it gets here, we can schedule you to get in like the next day. So sometimes we can get you in the next day it comes in. Sometimes that same day. It really just depends on how busy we are. Okay, this time next year when we all have our hybrids road trip to La McArthur. Yep, and take town for dinner. That's all right. Okay. McArthur Day celebration. Is there a PDF of the 22 Explorer available? Yeah, I do actually have. I can send you, Paul. I can send you a PDF of the Explorer if you want. Did we already order one for you? I was thinking we already ordered one for you, but I know that I had. I was trying to get a salesperson to follow up with you, but I'm not sure if we got one ordered or not. But yeah, I can send you one, and I think I have your email address. But go ahead and email me, Paul, and tell me that you want that, and that way I can just reply and get you that PDF. The order guide can be complex to read through, so if you have any questions, I can go through that with you. I know that 22 Explorer build and price isn't online yet, so that makes it difficult, and that's really, the only way that we can get that information for you. So, Tim, why can't the Ford logo be put in the aftermarket bed liner? I think that's because I think that there's like something that goes on the truck that they put in when Ford sprays it, and I think that's why you see that Ford logo. I don't know if that's something we can add or not, but I will say that is one thing that it is kind of cool to have on the spray, and when you get it from the factory, you get the Ford logo on the back. So maybe that's something that we could look into. I'm gonna write this stuff down. One second. By the way, I voted today. All right, so let me write this down. I'll ask Blake about that, and there was something else I was gonna ask Blake about too. I have to try to remember it. Okay, placed order 1st of August, 2.0 luxury tow package. Been 3 months and still nothing other than the confirmation. Is this normal? Possibly. Not sure, Brian, if you ordered it from us or not. But there are some people. I ordered in July. It's not scheduled yet. I did recently switch it over to EcoBoost because my son decided he didn't want to. He wanted to just purchase his Fusion hybrid. So I switched it over to EcoBoost, and I didn't get scheduled this month. So it's possible that it could be a little while. It really depends on if it's with us, then it should be real shortly, and probably could get scheduled real soon. But I would say you should be close. The only thing is if you order with another dealership, is to make sure that they got it COVP. So if they didn't submit all the paperwork and everything to Ford, then they're not going to look at your order until Ford receives that information. So that might be the other thing, is whether or not you ordered it with us. If you order with us, you should, all that paperwork should have gotten handed in without any problem. We have somebody in charge of that we keep a spreadsheet, and we look at it each week to make sure that everybody's paperwork got in to Ford. We got everything from the salesperson to get that submitted. But if you order with another dealership, they may not have done that. So, okay, I ordered a Maverick Hybrid Lariat with a drop-in liner and tow hitch. Being that I don't have any of the constraints, actually you do. Drop-in liner is a constraint, by the way. On my order, my order possibly jump ahead of other older orders. A drop-in liner is actually a late availability item. It's not listed as a constraint item. It's not even available right now. So that's something, I haven't seen any new order guides recently on that, but as of what I know so far, a drop-in liner, splash guards, some of those things are a late availability item, which means they're not constrained because they're not even available yet. So I would take out the drop-in liner if I were you. But yes, if you take off the drop-in liner, then you probably should jump ahead of some people because you don't have the luxury package. All right, so Blake hasn't reached out to me yet. We can go. Mike Letts said he would. Okay. All right, so Steven, I'll make sure. And actually, I probably have Niles or Sean do that. Blake is really busy with builds and doing special builds and such. That's usually his focus. And Niles and Sean are usually the guys that gets the spraying liners and the bed covers and all that kind of stuff scheduled. So I'll have one of those guys give you a call tomorrow because yours is here. So we need to get that taken care of. So just curious, Steven, what are you going to add to your truck? Let me know. Kind of curious. How many points do we get for buying a Maverick? I'm not sure. I think it's 42,000 points. I'm not sure. Maybe it's 24. I can't remember. I should look that stuff up. Okay, I'm going to do some research this week on Ford Pass. A lot of questions on that. So, and I think I appreciate you guys like testing me out there and pushing my limits of knowledge. So I appreciate it. So I'm in Colorado too, and I'm thinking about that too. So yeah, if you're in Colorado, I mean, if you are trading in, of course, drive up. But otherwise, we do have a lot of flights that go actually from Salina to Denver, by the way. So if you're thinking of, if you're coming from Denver, you could fly right into Salina probably pretty easily. But I know that a lot of times when I go, I've gone to Vegas twice in the last year. Both times I laid over in Denver. So there are some pretty good direct flights from Denver to Salina or to Wichita, either one. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, jump in front of my June order and we're gonna fight. So yeah, June orders. Oh man. Hopefully we get the okay. Somebody confirmed 42,000 points on Ford Pass with the purchase. So hopefully we see some of those hybrids start getting scheduled, and we see a lot more of those, especially those June people. We need to get those scheduled, right? So get those scheduled for builds. Bedliner and based on your recommendation, roll up tonneau cover. So, all right. Yep. And we can do, I think we have both of those in stock, so it shouldn't be a problem. We just need to get that scheduled to get put on. So I will talk to, yep, we'll get that. We'll get that, Steven. Do you want me to wait to do that? You know what? You don't mind. Let me, I'll do a video on that because that way I can show the spray and liner quality, get close ups of that with the video as well as the roll up cover. If that's okay. So I can do a video on that as well once they're done with it. Okay, will be scheduled. When is the next full scheduling week and what weeks? Next week. Next week is when you should be looking. So be checking your emails on Thursday if you're not scheduled yet. Next week is probably when you can a big chunk of scheduling will happen, probably for 2 weeks, I'd imagine. So probably the beginning of January. So whatever that's going to be, those 2 weeks is probably what they're going to schedule for next week. 42,000 is supposed to get you 2 free oil changes. So you can, I don't remember what the conversion over on points to dollar is, but I think it's about $100 or $200 or something like that. So off to the World Series. Oh yeah, World Series is on. Definitely have to end this pretty soon. So okay, absolutely. Photograph the entire process to share with the entire audience. We'll do. Okay. So I'll get with them and figure out scheduling and everything for that, so we can get some stuff done this week. So all right. So okay, I do know that it's been going on quite a while. I do appreciate everybody getting in there and chatting with me and sticking in for this long. So I appreciate it, and had a lot of fun. Hopefully answered your questions. Again, if I didn't answer your question, email. That's right there on the screen. For any other questions, fordvideoguy@gmail.com. I'll try to do better at answering some questions that you have, but if it's something I think the group might want to hear, I can save those for next week. But I'll try to do better, especially a lot of you might be sending those questions today, tomorrow. So I'll try to make a habit of, on Thursday, try to answer some of those questions through the email. So if you have any questions I didn't answer tonight, go ahead and send that email, fordvideoguy@gmail.com. Don't forget, down in the description, there's links to the podcast if you want to listen to this later. There were a couple images that you would probably missed out on if you listened to the podcast from the SEMA event and of our lifted Maverick. But so you would miss out on that, but you could check out that podcast if you want to watch it, listen to that for any information that maybe came about this week. And again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting on? Hit that red subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so that way you can get notified for another video when we have one that comes up there. And if you're interested in being a member, check out those perks there on the join button. I'll try to do a better job of doing some member-only type privileges there, but if anything else I try to do is I want to really try to send out some merch to some of you, so I do appreciate you being a member, and hopefully we give you some perks there to make it worth your while there. But check that out if you want to check out the membership information. And so as always, I'll be doing some videos later this week. If you want information, see what a Timberline edition is. I think it's a really cool edition on the Explorer. Probably be trying to get that video wrapped up tomorrow, so that might go live tomorrow or Thursday. And then I'll probably be busy taking some pictures the rest of the week, so that may be the only video that goes live later this week, so be looking for that video there. And then of course too, you might check out if you're following me on social media @TimBarts on Twitter. I'll probably tweet that out of how many allocations that we have for Maverick once I find that information. So you might check me out on Twitter there. And then of course if you have any questions on any of the forums, of course you can find me on any of those too. So I think I've covered everything. So again, thanks for watching and joining me tonight, and until next week, we'll see you later. Have a great day.